I'm Stocklassa, and I write creative non-fiction stories about the end of the Cold War in the 1980s. I will tell you a little bit about where I am and how I try to use the time in this strange situation that everybody's in. I've written a book called The Man Who Played with Fire, Stieg Larsson's Lost Files and the Hunt for an Assassin. It's been translated to 27 languages and is sold in more than 50 countries. But now, at the moment, I'm in my summer house on the east coast of Sweden, and it's a house from the early 18th century. This is where I try to use my time for my next story. But in fact, the book that I wrote started here more than 10 years ago. 2 miles in that direction, a woman was found brutally killed in 2008. And when I Googled the name of the farm where she was found, I found a completely different murder, but 170 years earlier on the same farm. I found that extremely exciting, and I started to look for similar incidents. And I found 2 more places where there had been double murders only in Sweden. And through a long series of coincidences, I found the archive of our world-famous crime writer Stieg Larsson that had been packed into moving boxes and put away when he died in 2004. And so I was the first person to see these files after his death, and I started to go through them. And I found that he actually had a theory, a tangible theory on who killed our prime minister and who was behind it. And I started coming after this story, meeting the people that he suspected. And that became the book that has been published under the name The Man Who Played with Fire. In the foreword to this book, I wrote that I believe that in 1 to 2 years, the murder will be solved. And we're now 1.5 years after the publication. And a couple of months ago, the new prosecutor, Swedish prosecutor, said before the 30th of June this year, the police and he will present who killed our prime minister. So it's well within the 2 years. So if the times are special in the whole world, they're even more special in my country, since we're waiting not only for the confinement, isolation to stop, but also for the solution of a more than 3-decade-long mystery. And I try to use the time in the best fashion. I do research for my next book that will describe also events from the 1980s. So I'm a little bit of an armchair detective where I go through a lot of documents, I take long walks and try to make out these events, how they happened. And there's always a dilemma when you write about conspiracies, because you can become a conspiracy theorist and just become crazy, but at the same time you have to go down the rabbit hole to find out what can actually be behind these events. And also you need someone to listen to you. You need someone that can actually accept your own ideas and everything that you tell, and doesn't argue all the time. And I found the perfect companion, and she's called Ruth, and I would like you to meet her. What? Oh, Vicky. She's an English Cocker Spaniel, and she's completely loyal to me. And she'll listen to everything I say, accepts everything as long as she gets food 2 times a day and some goodies in between. So that's the best way, I think, to start the conspiracy theories before you start doubting them. So that's how I try to use my time while I'm in confinement, and waiting also for the solution of a murder that will come soon. And by that, I would like to say goodbye and thank you. I hope to see you live at the Pen Festival next year. And I just remembered, maybe you want to know who actually killed the woman 2 miles from here. It turned out that the culprit was a Swedish moose. So that's also a special story. Thank you, and bye-bye.